Tremblay. I'm a professor in the Department of Geography at the University of Victoria, where the hall is also located. I just want to share a small story. I didn't share the other day, but my first exposure into participatory research was from a fund we had given from IDRC back when I was a master's student, so that was 2008. And we had applied for funding to do some participatory video in Brazil with waste pickers there, and that was the entry into that work for me, but also led me to do my doctorate as well. So I'm here today mostly because of that work, but also for the support from this. So, and I've been carrying this gift around with me for days, so I wanted to present that to you on behalf of the University of Victoria. Great, thank you. So I'm really pleased to have been invited to talk about Indigenous perspectives at our university. I'm going to speak a little bit about the context in Canada as well. So I'm trying not to do too much repetition from my talk on Wednesday, and Kathy mentioned a little bit as well. Wednesday, a little bit about Indigenous, what we've been doing at the University of Victoria. So I am a visitor to the territory where I live. I've been on the territory of the Coast Salish peoples for about 14 years now. I'm originally from Quebec, and I have Irish, Scottish, and French ancestors. I'm a non-Indigenous person to the territory where I live. Sometimes we also refer to that as being a settler. So I very humbly share some of the knowledge and ideas today from what I've learned living there, what I've learned from working in communities, from Indigenous mentors and scholars from the University of Victoria. I also consider myself a community activist, sometimes a community imposter as well, so they let me in the university. So I'm an advocate. This is a picture of what we call the First Peoples House on our university. This is our land acknowledgement that was co-created with the different nations where our university is located, the Lekwungen-speaking people, and specifically the Songhees, Esquimalt, and Osanic peoples whose historical relationship with the land continues today. So I just want to speak just briefly before I start speaking about what we're doing about what is Indigenous research. I know we've been talking a lot about Indigenous research, community-based participatory research. So I just wanted to give a little bit of framing of what that means in Canada and at our university. I work with so many amazing Indigenous scholars and students. These few slides have been shared to me by Dr. Charlotte Lopey, she was the former director of the Center for Indigenous Research and Community-Led Engagement, which is a center that was created about 3 or 4 years ago. We actually have a graduate student from Dr. Charlotte Lopey here, who is studying at UVic and doing an internship here at PRIA, so I'm really happy to see you here today. So just a few principles or characteristics about Indigenous research as Charlotte describes it. Pursues community priorities, learns and honors community protocols and processes, equitably distributes decision-making power, accommodates the complexities and diversity of communities, values relationships over projects. This includes investing time and money in building those relationships, recognizing that these relationships take much longer periods of time, and to invest in the relationship, not one-off projects. To allocate sufficient funds necessary to do this, to allocate funds to Indigenous communities themselves, rather than going through always the university diversity, which creates a lot of power imbalances, honors diverse laws of ownership, credits diverse knowledge systems, and acknowledges what can be shared. So very much in ethics as well. So acknowledging Indigenous contributions to epistemology is very rich and diverse. I by no means talk about Indigenous to pan all of Canada. There's over 600 distinct First Nations in Canada, each one with their own knowledge systems, connection to land, protocols, ways of knowing and doing research. So this has been shared to me by scholars that I mentor with. So what is knowledge? What is truth? We know in many different ways, so embracing this idea of interdisciplinary. And I'll get to Gandhi in a few slides, which is foreshadowing some of these ideas. We are all learners, participatory, and we are all teachers, reciprocal capacity building. Again, just trying to distinguish between what we're talking about as Indigenous knowledge systems and Western knowledge systems. In terms of research, Indigenous knowledge systems are very place-based. I'm going to show a very cool map in a minute, so you'll get a better idea of what I mean by that. Compared to more topic-based, very much centered on relationships, in terms of learning environments. Knowledge systems are experiential, and worldview is holistic. So this is a map. It was developed by Professor Margaret Pierce, who is based at the University of Maine in the States. And if you look closely, you'll notice there are no territorial colonial boundaries. This is what I would call a really important decolonized map of Canada. There's over I don't know exactly how many, but there's hundreds of Indigenous place names and stories associated to those places, places where treaties have been signed, and particularly stories associated to these places. I teach community mapping at the university where I work, and I love using maps. I teach, I work with my students to think about deconstructing maps. Maps hold so much power. They hold our knowledge of place and stories to those places, relationships, and those stories are passed on from generation to generation. So I particularly am a geographer, so I really like maps, but I think these types of decolonizing maps of place names are very important as we start to think about how we can decolonize and how higher education can think about also decolonizing our campuses. To think a little bit about Gandhi, I've been so excited over these last few days as an opportunity to think more about Gandhi and his teachings and to be inspired by our speakers. This idea of an epistemology of place, and I quote Bud Hall, blog on decolonization, not just a buzzword, where we are thinking about decolonization as always contextualized within place, history, and context. The theories and practices of community-based research, with their focus on an epistemology of place, have a significant role in the extraordinary project of decolonizing our universities. So I think it's really important to be thinking about that in our community-based research projects. Other learnings, there's so many comparisons and similarities and insights to be shared between Gandhi and thinking about Indigenous knowledge as being, of course, the holistic and relational aspects to Gandhi's teachings are mirrored in that of Indigenous epistemology in terms of embracing the whole person, thinking about the spiritual, the connection to and relationship with land and non-human beings. Teachings are almost always community-based if it's an Indigenous research, land-based, experiential, and mostly often intergenerational. Rajesh spoke about this commons of knowledge, and I often think of commons of resources and commons of water and how we relate to water and the natural world around us. And in fact, we are bodies of water. We are, and when we think of that, when we think of ourselves as bodies of water, we will treat water very differently. So I'm always reminded of that, and I think Gandhi raised some light into that for us as well. So moving from the I to the we in all facets of I spoke a little bit about, and some of you might be familiar with the history of colonization and cultural assimilation, and what now has been formally recognized in Canada as cultural genocide that has lasted multiple generations, where children have been taken from their homes and their culture, from their land, and forced into residential schools for many generations, essentially cutting off their connection to their culture, their language. So in 2015, there was a Truth and Reconciliation calls to action, 92 of them specifically, many of them connected to education and research. Action 65 specifically calls to grow the capacity of First Nations, Métis, and Inuit to lead their own research and partner with the broader research community. We also have global movements such as the UN DRIP, Article 3 specifically, recognizing Indigenous people's right to self-determination, which is the right to really determine their political status and really pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. So indeed, with these calls to action in Canada, there is a move and I believe a genuine desire to decolonize our institutions and practices. This is Honorable Justice Senator Murray Sinclair, Indigenous First Nation, Ojibwe and Cree from Northern Manitoba. He was the chair of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in Canada. He speaks here, I has so many great quotes that are linking to ideas of Gandhi, to ideas of decolonization, to what it means about education. He says, education got us in this mess in the first place, and education is what's going to get us out of it. So I think it's important to think of the role of higher education in decolonization and in reculturalization. And he poses these 4 questions for us all to consider: where we're from, where we're going, why am I here, and most importantly, who am I? So I encourage us all to be thinking of that wherever we are on this planet. I mentioned this the other day. I'll just briefly mention for those that are unfamiliar, we've had a recent, we have what's called the Tri-Council in Canada, our 3 major funding research bodies for social sciences, natural sciences, and health research, who have recently come together in what they're calling the Canada Canadian Research, Coordinated Canadian Research Canada, which are the 3 research funding bodies coming together. This is a report that hasn't been made public yet. I've been involved with it as one of the 13 institutions across the country that are working towards developing a new strategic framework for Indigenous-led research and leadership in Canada. This will be launched in November of this year. It'll be a pathway for implementing this for the next 3 years with 4 strategic directions. One is building relationships, supporting research priorities of Indigenous peoples, creating greater funding accessibilities, and championing Indigenous leadership, self-determination, and capacity building in leadership. So this is really, really exciting for everybody, Indigenous, non-Indigenous. I think this is a long-awaited move towards building capacity and directly funding Indigenous identified research needs in the country. We have a new strategic framework at UVic. I brought copies if anyone's interested in having a look at that. One of the 6 pillars of our strategic framework is to foster respect and reconciliation. I won't go into too many details of what these are, but essentially supporting new and incoming Indigenous students, faculty, and staff, developing appropriate cultural training for non-Indigenous faculty and staff on campus, and enabling new funding strategies to support research. We also have an Indigenous plan, and it's the I imagine other universities are doing this in the country, but I'm not familiar with many, so I'm really proud that we have an Indigenous plan at UVic. I've given out a bunch. I have one left. If anyone wants that one, you're welcome to it. It's also free on our website. If you want to Google it, you can have a look. And this has 5 key areas focused on students, faculty, staff, education, research, and governance. We have a number of other initiatives at UVic that are helping to support and realize the vision in the plan. We have an Indigenous Academic Communication Office with a special advisor, one of my mentors, Dr. Rubina Thomas, who's been in this position for quite a few years now. We have an Indigenous Academic Advisory Council, which is faculty and students come together to talk about programming and research priorities for the university. We also have an Elders and Residents program that both non-Indigenous and Indigenous faculty call on to support programs when we have international conferences. When we want to go into communities, we would always want to connect with our elders. We also have an Indigenous Cultural Acumen training. It's a 2-hour online training for everyone on campus, and that includes subsequent workshops as well. There's a number of other Indigenous-led research programs. I'm totally 2 minutes over, so I'm going to wrap this up quick. We have the first Indigenous Law degree program as well. More than 100 courses that include Indigenous content, 15 degrees, and more we're seeing Indigenous faculty and staff on campus. And I'm going to wrap up my last slide with one of my mentors and Bud's very close friend, Dr. Lorna Williams from the Lillooet First Nation in Mount Currie, who talks about, she was one of the pioneers for bringing Indigenous language revitalization to our campus and indeed internationally.